All right, hello, folks. This is part two of the first part of the video of many will hate us for this truth telling. And number one, I want to applaud everybody because I'm an old man and I'll say something, then pause, and it takes forever. And people today have zero patience to even listen to anything, which is very sad. I get these boys in the gym all the time. They're wanting to drag it out, and I'm like, you don't belong here. You got to go. If you got no patience, you're not gonna get nowhere in this life. And I say that as an impatient old man. So trust me on it, I know it. What I was finishing up with the first video was that probably 98% of the people that watch this that are adults and living on their own probably make more money than what I make. And what I was saying was I spend half of my income on my son Joe's education. He's schooled right here in the house. Well, why would you do that? You're stunting him. Really? Oh, yeah, I should send him off to somewhere where he can learn how to lie, cheat, and steal, cuss, and raise hell, do drugs, everything else. No, thank you. No, thank you at all with that. So, that was what I was finishing the part one of this up with. And this one thing I want to say here is, you go look on YouTube or any social apparatus, networking, online apparatus, and you start looking, and almost every single person you come up on is blah, 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 like a damn two-bit shyster used car salesman trying to sell you a piece of junk. And you don't need to be falling into it, folks. Slow the hell down and get your shit together. Get it together. Number one, as a parent. Number one. If you've already had a child. And if you can't do these things, you don't need to have a child. And if you do, your child's lives are not going to be good. Whether you have money and you're on high, or whether you're the poorest of the poor, or somewhere in the middle, like most people. Number one, from day one, you need to, what are you injecting my child with? And you need to do your own investigating with that. I'm no doctor, but I'm smart enough to know, and this is one other thing about me. Back in the day, I had an IQ of 222. I was like way up there, borderline genius. Of course, my brain slowed down, and I'm an old man. And I got Parkinson's disease. But this comes from somebody who used to be quick-witted and quick-thoughted. These doctors aren't as educated as you think they are. Education has been bullshit for over 100 years. And since 1979, it's been in a free-fall dive with the advent of the federal Department of Education. Federal government got involved, as with everything else, total downhill crash. Speaking from a U.S. perspective, we used to be number one, now we're sitting there dangling across the floor of the basement. So doctors go, they get told, do this, do this, do this, do this. They don't investigate why. Psychologists do this, do this, do this, and psychiatrists do this, do this, do this, and they don't investigate why. In other words, you got a bunch of trained idiots running around here. Government workers went off to school, do this, do this, do this, do this. And we've got the biggest idiots. If you want to go to where you can find the most idiotic morons, go to a government building. They are there. They are there. They don't even have the decency to connect their brain with their heart to have feelings for their fellow citizens that pay their salaries and they parasitically suck the working blood out of. So, the medical, you need to make damn sure. The education, you need to know what's going on. If you were brought up in a system where you never questioned, well, why is this, why is that, and you just take everything at face value that you're taught, even if you were in an education system like that, it's time as a parent, before your child is of age to go to school, to start asking, well, why was I taught this? Why did they say this? Is there an alternative to that? Because I'm going to tell you, education is propaganda today. That is all it is. I know my wife's a school teacher. She's been one for damn now 20 years here. I know because I got a university education. Damn near busted my ass and killed myself to get it. Wasn't nothing handed to me. And worked my ass off for years to finally achieve that. And could hit myself in the myself in the head with a hammer every day because 3/4 of the stuff I learned was bullshit and wasn't true. The education, number one, medical, number two, education, number three, nutrition, health and nutrition. And when I say health and nutrition, what is ingested in your child's body. Your child needs good, clean foods. Let me give you an example of a good, clean food. Giving your child fresh farm eggs and bacon, fresh farm bacon every day. Oh, well, you can't, that's a heart attack waiting. No. That would be a good thing to do. The brain is predominantly made up of cholesterol, good and bad, chemical makeup. And that's why people can't think today, is because of all this fat-free stuff. And I don't have time to go through and explain this to you, but go investigate it on your own and you'll find out. You don't need to be sending your child, getting your child McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Domino's, and crap like that every day. They don't need it twice a week. Around here, it's like once every 2 or 3 months, if that. I've got Joe so conditioned now he don't even like the crap food. So I did right there. He's not craving for it like all these other kids. You've got to figure out what is good, clean, and what is clean food to put in your child's body. They will be smarter, they will be more healthy body-wise. And the next thing you got to do, your child needs to be getting exercise, period. I made a rule a long time ago as a parent: there will be no fat asses in my house. Now I say that as a guy after a major surgery, I ballooned up 65 pounds. But I'm back down now. I've got what could be considered and called a bubble gut right now, but it's where I was just ripped apart up my stomach. There's medical reasons why, but you've got to feed your child healthy foods. You need to know, is my child out here smoking cigarettes, smoking pot? And guess what? Pot is not good, folks. Don't fall into that bullshit. When I was younger, and I've smoked pot before, I've openly admit that. It's been quite a few times when I was younger, that these stoners would be saying, oh, pot's better than cigarettes. Oh, this is good for you. Frying every brain cell in their brain. And I bought into that shit. But it's not. It's no good. Anything that is going to alter, cloud, escape in any way, shape, or form the mind and the brain is no good for you. None of it. These mushrooms that these guys, no. This Indian rapé bullshit that they do down here in South America, no. There's a reason why alcohol was called spirits back in the day, and it was because it would uninhibit you. You would be uninhibited, and you free your mind up to everything, and before you know it, the spirits come, bad ones, demonic ones, and they got a hold of your brain and your heart, and that's what's going on here. Everything, go back and read Genesis chapter 6. Just go read Genesis chapter 6. Plug in Genesis chapter 6. I'm telling you today, everything is a spiritual war going on. And you're in that war, whether you realize it or not, whether you want to be or not, you are in that war. And the end result for you is either going to be heaven or it is going to be hell. And you will choose it whether you realize which one you're choosing or not. Man and his mind and his uninhibited ways and means and things has corrupted God. It has corrupted the education system. It hasn't corrupted God, but it's corrupted our learning about God, our reasoning capabilities. That's why you hear the word discernment throughout the Bible. That's your reasoning capabilities. Is this right or is this wrong? And that's completely gone and shot. And you need to teach your kid, you need to give definitive family structure as to what is right and as to what is wrong. Or you got no business having a child. If you're a frivolous, foolish idiot, why would you breed another one? And the other thing is, if you are not capable of disciplining another human being, you don't deserve a child. You don't need to have one. You just don't. And if you can do all these things I just said and give 110%, which is required to be a real daddy or a real mama, you need to have 10 kids. And that's the problem. The ones that truly do care, we're all having 1 or 2 kids. Now, I'll give a little self-defense in my situation. I'm just old. Joe's 16. I'm old enough to have a 16-year-old grandkid. So if that gives you any indication with me. But if I had it to do over again, I'd be having 10 kids. But I thank God I didn't. because I wasn't ready up here or in here, or I would have had little POSs running around here, going along with the flow of everything. You cannot trust an education system that is telling your little boy that he's really inside, he's a little girl trapped in a boy's body, or vice versa. Because number one, that's not science, and number two, it's not true. You can't trust a medical system that had Dr. Fauci, an animal abusing killer, that let, discriminately I might add, millions of Africans die in Africa while he was researching along with HIV and AIDS, and did what he did during this last flu outbreak. I'll just call it that. That guy belongs in prison. Yet he waltzed right on through the system for years and years and years, and this is why you cannot trust government. This is why the citizens need to be able to have the right to own and bear arms, is not to hunt. It is to protect themselves from their government. And who would that be? Well, the first line of that would be a code enforcement guy. Second line offense to that would be the police, whom are no good any longer. See, this is why I'm saying Trump. I'm going to be voting for Trump. I'm going to be helping the Trump election like I did last time. I worked on the transition team the last time. I was lucky I got picked. I'm no longer able to do that, but it's possible I could get picked again. And but he can't fix this. This has got to be something we need to beg God to help us with, and we genuinely need to get on board with wholeheartedly, with our own efforts. That's why when I tell you, for the glory of our King, Joe's mission is going to be to beat everybody up in the boxing ring. And people, you just can't understand that. Like, oh my gosh, Yet it is your kids, your children, that go up to my kid daily and say, what are you eating? What are you doing? How do you do your workouts? What are you doing with this? I want to be like you. Hey, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. All the girls are like you. All these girls want to be with you. I want to have muscles like you have. I want to be able to box like you do. I want to be able to blah, 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 blah. Isn't that amazing? So the ones you sitting here and you condemning are the ones your kids want to be like but can't for one reason, and that be you, the mama, or you, the daddy. There's no secret ingredient and spices going on around here. It's a lot of getting down on the hands and knees and begging for God's help, and us going and doing the work. That's it. Prayer and hard work and discerning in our brain. Should I do this? Should I do this? And should I eat this? Should I take this medicine that the doctor's saying? Should I buy this thing over here? Should I be listening to this preacher? Is this guy crazy? And unfortunately, most preachers are crazy as hell now. But look, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. You know, if you were looking, you would know that Duke University yearly puts out polls to different professions. And the profession, the occupation that these college kids go to school for, the one that has the stability at a job, that they're not going to get fired or they can move on and continue doing the job, and for the money is the preachers. Number one on the list for that occupation is money and job stability. For all other professions and occupations, it's on further down. Should it surprise you that this some bitch is sitting up here, or in some cases a damn woman, which is forbidden in the Bible, sitting up in here, that you should listen to these pieces of junk? And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You got to take care of your child's spiritual welfare. You are in a cosmic war, whether you choose to believe it or whether you don't, whether you choose to take a side or whether you don't. You're in it, and a side will be chosen for you. By not choosing, you choose the side of evil, and you'll pay accordingly. You will pay accordingly. Sickness and death will come upon you or your children. So you better be careful out there. The time for this bullshit of, well, the food pyramid says this. Really? You gonna believe these people that are telling you that little Johnny is really little Juanita? Really? Don't buy into it, folks. It's my sincere hope that Christ reaches you, that my King reaches you, that you start starting to understand and digging into biblical truth. All these outlandish, these things that you think are just crazy and wild, these things are being proven scientifically every day to be the truth. It astounds me today that people do not believe that the Great Flood happened. It's astounding to me. But what it is it's an ignorant man or woman that hasn't done the science for themselves. They just sat there and hear people on television or YouTube saying, or in the classroom or university saying, well, that's not possible that happened. It's not possible. And they buy into that without doing. Anyone that sits and does their own research comes to completely different conclusions than what the news is telling them, that what science is telling them, and what their pastor's telling them, to what their education system is telling them. Completely different conclusions. Almost 100% of the time. So research. And it is my sincerest hope that God instills in you that, go do research on your own. Figure it out. Once you start figuring it out, the better off you are going to be. So, and the more you're going to realize that the good things that you've been told that you thought were fantasy are actually the real things, and all these cool evil things you've been taught to do are actually the evil things, and are not cool, and are not good, and are not beneficial for you or that of your children or your parents or your cousins. So I'm going to leave this one here. Will be about an hour rant on this stuff. I'll just say again, and if you're in the sporting world, how could you possibly have sat and watched the Olympics opening with all these queers on there and that pathetic showing, and then them denying, oh, we didn't know this was going to happen, oh, they did this and we didn't know, and then at the ending ceremony having that satanic ceremony. And if you can't sit and look at that and start saying, what in the hell is going on in this world? What are they attempting to do? You'll never wake up. you'll be woke all day long, but you'll never be awake and you will never be awakened. So be careful out there.